Okay, before we get into the video, I just want to say I recorded this, scripted it out, conceptualized this all before the announcement that Respawn were coming out with 3 new Star Wars games, one of them being an FPS, which almost all but kills off any hope for Battlefront 3 or a Battlefront 2 revival, which this video is about. But I conceptualized this anyway, so I just thought I'd put it out there. EA and DICE are in a bit of a tough spot at the moment, with their flagship series, the Battlefront franchise, having its latest entry 2042 fail to really take off at its launch. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a problem, but then again, patience doesn't drive engagement on the internet. However, if the rumors are to be believed, and they're rumors, so most likely not, EA are disappointed with this result and are looking to move forward with a new Battlefield title's development, while they deliver the promised content for this one. DICE stopped development for both Battlefield 5, which the community was split on, as well as Battlefront 2, which the community had come to adore, to work on the development for 2042. So I can't say as an avid Battlefront enjoyer from day one that I'm not slightly disappointed. However, I do have an idea that I believe would be the best course of action, at least for the branding of EA and DICE. A next-gen revival of Battlefront 2. This would be purely from a marketing perspective, but it would put a substantial amount of positive attention on the DICE EA branding. So, the actual plan: get a small team at DICE or another studio that works closely with DICE, a la DICE LA in the Battlefield 4 days, to restart work on the updates that were happening in Battlefront 2 up until May 2020. There's no need to deviate from the direction those updates were heading in. Okay, that's the fundamentals of the plan. It is what will undoubtedly drive much positive attention to the game and send lots of love DICE's way, even if it's another team entirely doing it. Such is the nature of the majority not really recognizing what actually happens in the industry. Fundamentals aside, EA can't simply restart by announcing a resume of updates and nothing else. It would rob some fanfare of the situation and has the possibility of stoking confusion. So it has to be clear that this is a relaunch of sorts. So the suggestion here is a re-release akin to what they have done already with the Celebration Edition and all the marketing bells and whistles they did with that, new trailer, ad campaigns, etc. Except this time there are next-gen versions with updated graphics, refresh rates, and miscellaneous improvements that wouldn't be too taxing on development because we would still want this to be efficient. The next-gen version would allow for reprints and a push for a new marketing campaign, even though fundamentally it would still be the same game as it was with the Celebration Edition. With the next-gen versions, there would be need for crossplay, like 2042 has now, not only so the same platform players, like both the PS4 and PS5 players, so they could play together, but also so that different communities can finally play together, further adding to the marketing points to this game relaunch. Now for the part that EA would care the most about: monetization. With the revival of the game comes the excuse to implement whatever system is the most popular and profitable at the time. Right now it's a battle pass, but at the time it could be something different. It should be tied to the cosmetics, which gives access to an endless possibility of options that could exist in a Star Wars game. It would have to work with the current crystals as a premium currency they have in the game, but that is more than flexible enough to work with, as evidenced by what they did with the Celebration Edition. This would all be additional content, of course, as the current cosmetics can be instantly unlocked by purchasing said Celebration Edition. Speaking of which, I have an idea on a way to release this relaunch of the game. It would work in the exact same model as the Celebration Edition. For the upgrade, or the outright purchase if you don't own the game, you'll get access to a whole group of certain cosmetics that are added to the day one drop of the game and in further updates, instead of having to go through the usual process of unlocking them. Now, how I would group these is by dark and light side, the classic Star Wars dichotomy. This way you can release these editions like how the Pokemon games release theirs. One edition for the light side and one for the dark side, each coming with their respective cosmetics, those that launch with the revival as well as those that belong to their grouping already in the game. EA can specify a date to when the editions will last, and any update beyond that will have to be unlocked via whatever system the revival will bring, again most likely the Battle Pass. This is much like how if, hypothetically, any other cosmetics got added to the version of Battlefront 2 we have right now, the Celebration Edition players would not unlock it. The dual release would allow the faction choosing aspects among the community to come back, like the first season of DLC content for this game in the Last Jedi season, as well as opening more monetization channels for EA, with both options being available. The love for this game is still here, almost 2 years after support ended, and is probably the most likely community to pick up after a revival. That, along with the popularity of the Battlefront series and the popularity of Star Wars, especially right now, makes it a prime candidate for content renewal. That can spell big money for EA, especially with a small team following a successful blueprint instead of a full-fledged game release. Battlefront 3 would be great, but it's clear that's not the focus of EA right now. So this solution would be the most realistic while still being a clearly popular and profitable move.